Welcome back, y'all. This is Wiki Reader, where we read Wikipedia pages for you so you don't have to. Today we're going to be covering something known as one of the baddest things basically to ever fly. I'm going to play this little clip for y'all, and then we'll start to hit it. I'm not even going to introduce it.
United States Air Force's F-22 Raptor!
Welcome back. So as you saw, we're going to be doing the F-22, and that video just gives me chills, literal chills. The
Chills, literal chills.
Boeing F-22 Raptor is an American twin-engine, jet-powered, all-weather supersonic stealth aircraft. As a product of the United States Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter program, the aircraft was designed as an air superiority fighter, but also incorporated ground attack, electronic warfare, and signal intelligence capabilities. The prime contractor, Lockheed Martin, built most of the F-22 airframe and weapon systems and conducted final assembly, while program partner Boeing provided wings, aft fuselage, avionics, and integration and training systems. First flown in 1997, the F-22 descended from Lockheed YF-22, which was variously designated as F-22 and FA-22. F-22 for fighter, FA for fighter/attack, before formally entered service in December 2005. So this aircraft has been dominating the sky for 20 years now. That's how old this system is. As the F-22A, it replaced F-15 Eagle in the most active duty U.S. Air Force squadrons. Although the service had originally planned to buy a total of 750 to replace the entire F-15 fleet, it later scaled down to 381, and the program ultimately cut to 195 aircraft. 187 operation models in 2009 due to political opposition, high cost, perceived lack of air-to-air threats at the time of the production, and the development was more affordable and versatile for the F-35 Lightning II. And we'll have another video covering the F-35 Lightning, which is also an awesome stealth aircraft. The last aircraft was delivered in 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, if y'all remember. The F-22 is a critical component of the United States Air Force's tactical air power as its most advanced air superiority fighter. While it had protracted development and the initial operations difficulties, the aircraft became the service's leading counter-air platform. Its deployments included Okinawa, Middle East, and NATO's eastern flank. Although designed for air superiority operations, the F-22 has also carried out and supported airstrikes, and the F-22 is expected to remain a cornerstone of the United States Air Force's fighter fleet until its successor, the Boeing F-47, enters service around 2030. Who knows? I don't think the F-22 probably not going to go anywhere. Really haven't seen anything air-to-air wise. It would be cool though to be able to see it. And then you got the origins, which is talking about the whole development. A lot of big words in there, and what Lockheed and Boeing did to be able to get there, and then the full-scale development. But we're going to skip down to ban on exports. And in order to prevent an inadvertent disclosure of the aircraft's stealth technology and classified capabilities, the U.S. adversaries' annual DoD Appropriations Act since the FY 1998 fiscal year 1998 have included provisions prohibiting the use of funds made available to each act to approve license the sale of the F-22 to any foreign government. Customers of the U.S. fighters acquiring earlier designs such as the F-15 F-16, and newer F-35 Lightning II, which contains technology from the F-22, but was designed to be cheaper, more flexible, and available for export. So a lot of U.S. aircrafts are sold to foreign governments, but F-22 is like the one that they have the lock on that basically has to be kept under lock and key at all times. Despite the ban, 2010 defense authorizations bill included provisions requiring the DoD to report on the cost and feasibility of the F-22 export variant, another report on the effect of export sales to the U.S. aerospace industries. Some Australian defense officials and politicians have expressed interest in the F-22. In 2008, the Chief Defense Force Air Chief Marshal Agnes Houston stated that the aircraft was being considered by the Royal Australian Air Force as a potential supplement to the F-35. Some defense commentators have even advocated for the purchase in lieu of F-35, citing the F-22's known capabilities and the F-35's delay and development uncertainties. Yeah, the F-35 took forever to develop. However, considerations of the F-22 were later dropped, and the F-18 Super Hornet would serve as the Royal Australian Air Force's interim aircraft prior to F-35's service entry. The Japanese government has also shown interest in the F-22. The Japanese Air Self-Defense Force would reportedly require fewer fighters for its missions if it obtained the F-22, thus reducing engineering and staffing costs. With the end of the F-22 production, Japan chose the F-35 in December of 2011. At one point, the Israeli Air Force had hoped to purchase 50 F-22s in 2003. However, Israeli representatives announced after years of analysis and discussions with Lockheed Martin and the DoD, they had concluded that Israel could not afford the aircraft. Eventually, Israel purchased the F-35. Well, yeah, because that's when we go to resell this thing, we mark up the price to where no one wants it, which is smart. I mean, the stealth technology, it's like the F-117 Nighthawk, where they literally remove parts of the wings because of the stealth technology on it for even transportation or sitting in a museum. Or if it's sitting in a museum, they remove that component and put on a different component so it can't be copied. Alrighty. No one cares about this. All right, let's talk about the stealth of the F-22. The F-22 was designed to be highly difficult to detect and track on radar, with radio waves reflected, scattered, and diffracted away from its emitted source towards specific sectors, or absorbent attenuated. Measures of the radar's RCS, that is a radar cross section. So like when you're looking at a radar, how big does the object look on a radar? Everybody makes jokes that it looks like just a mosquito out there or a fly. Include airframe shaping such as alignment of the edges, continuous curvature of the surfaces, internal carriage of weapons, fixed geometry. So the internal carriage of weapons is like it's bay doors underneath. That's where it keeps all of its armament, not along the wings like other fighter aircraft do. Serpentine inlet ducts and curved vanes that prevent line of sight of the engine fans, faces and the turbines from exterior view, use of radar absorbent material, also known as RAM, and attention to detail such as hinges of the pilot's helmets that could provide a radar return. The F-22 was designed to decrease radio frequency emissions, infrared signature, and acoustic signature, as well as reduce the visibility to the naked eye. The aircraft's rectangular thrust vector nozzles flatten the exhaust plane and facilitate its mixing of ambient air through shed vortices, plural, I don't know, which reduces infrared emissions to mitigate the threat of infrared homing or heat-seeking missiles, surface-to-air or air-to-air missiles. Additional measures to reduce the infrared signature include special top coat and active cooling to manage the heat buildup from the supersonic flight. So compared to previous designs, the F-22 is less reliant on RAM, which is the maintenance intensive to absorb material, weather conditions, and undergo repairs from the flight line or in a normal hangar without climate control. So when they apply the RAM, it just takes longer, and that way the aircraft is down for longer. And with it being a fighter jet, they want it down for the least amount of time possible. The F-22 incorporates signature assessment system, which delivers warning when radar signature is degraded and necessitates repair. Well, the F-22's exact RCS is classified, of course. In 2009, Lockheed Martin released information indicated that from certain angles of the airplane, the RCS is 0.000001 meters squared, which, if you ever looked at anything on a radar, that is extremely small. Equivalent to the radar reflection of steel marble, the aircraft can mount a Lunenburg laser reflector to mask its RCS. The mission where stealth is required, a mission capable rate is 62 to 70%. So they only need 100% stealth, basically, to stay stealth. They just need 70%, even 62%. Beginning in 2021, the F-22 has been testing a new chrome-like surface coating speculated to help reduce the F-22 detectability from infrared tracking systems. The effectiveness of stealth characteristics is difficult to gauge. The RCS values are restrictive measures on the aircraft's frontal or side area of the perspective of the static radar. When the aircraft maneuvers, it exposes a completely different set of angles and surface area, potentially increasing the radar observability. So basically, when it's flying through the air, it's hard to guess what the RCS, because you can't catch every angle of the aircraft flying through the air, or they would just have to sit there for thousands of hours catching it on different angles on different radars. Furthermore, the F-22 stealth contouring and radar absorbent material is chiefly effective against high-frequency radars, usually found on other aircraft. The effects of the Rayleigh scattering and resonance mean that low-frequency radars, such as weather radars, early warning radars, are more likely to detect the F-22 due to its physical size. These are less conspicuous, susceptible to clutter, and have low precision. Additionally, while faint and fleeting radar contacts make defenders aware that the stealth aircraft is present, reliable vectoring interception to attack the aircraft is much more challenging. Yeah, because of how small it freaking is on a radar. It doesn't matter if it's a bigger object and has a larger RCS value. It's going to be easier to whatever surface-to-air missiles you're using, if it has a larger scale, to be able to intercept it. If it's such a small scale on a grid, if you put a pencil dot on it, it's easier to intercept that. It's harder to intercept a pencil dot than like a giant ink blotch. So that's basically what it's saying in layman's terms. Avionics, the cockpit. All right, let's get to the armament. The F-22 has 3 internal weapons bays, a large main bay on the bottom of the fuselage, 2 smaller bays on the side of the fuselage, aft of the engine inlets. A small bay for countermeasures such as flares is located behind each side bay. The main bay is split along the center line to accommodate 6 LAU-142A launchers for beyond visual range missiles, and each side bay has a LAU-141 launcher for short-range missiles. The primary air-to-air missiles is the AIM-120 and the AIM-9 Sidewinder plan to integrate the AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile. Missiles launches require the bay doors to be open for less than a second, during which pneumatic or hydraulic arms push the missiles to clear the aircraft. This reduces vulnerability of the detection and to deploy missiles during high-speed flight. Internally mounted M61A2 Vulcan rotary cannon is embedded in the airplane's right wing root, with the muzzle covered by a retractable door, which remains closed when the cannon is not firing, in order to negative effect of exposure of the muzzle on the aircraft's radar signature. The radar projection of this cannon's fire path is displayed on the pilot's HUD heads-up display. Although designed for air-to-air missiles, the main bay can be replaced with 4 launchers with bomb racks that can carry each 1,000-pound or 4 250-pound bombs for a total of 2,000 pounds of air-to-surface ordnance. In 2024, Lockheed Martin disclosed the proposal of the Mako hypersonic missile, a 1,300-pound weapon that can be carried internally of the F-22, while capable of carrying weapons with GPS such as JDAMs, SDBs. The F-22 cannot self-designate laser-guided weapons, so it has to have another system out there to be a laser designated. While the F-22 carries weapons internally, the wings include 4 hard points, each rated for 5,000 pounds. Each hard point can accommodate a pylon that can carry a detachable 600-gallon external fuel tank or a launcher holding 2 air-to-air missiles. The 2 inboard hard points are plumbed for external fuel tanks. The 2 outboard hard points have since been dedicated to a stealthy pod housing the IRST and mission systems. The aircraft can jettison external tanks and their pylon attachments to restore its low absorbability. So yeah, if it has this extra stuff on the side, it's going to have a higher RCS value, radar cross section. So after it uses it or uses those external fuel tanks, it'll just pop those things off and pop off the extra pylons to go back to its normal 0% zero visibility to the radar. Alrighty, let's go. Okay, let's go here to operational history. Hasn't really seen any like air-to-air besides training, and that's what we're about to cover. The first combat-ready F-22 first fighter wing arrived at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia in January 2005. In that December, the United States Air Force announced the aircraft achieved initial operation capability with the 94th Fighter Squadron. The unit subsequently participated in Exercise Northern Ridge in 2006 in Alaska. In the exercise Red Flag 07-2 at Nellis Air Force Base in February of 2007, where they demonstrated the F-22's greatly increased air combat capabilities when flying against Red Force aggressors F-15s and F-16s with a simulated kill ratio of 108-0. These large force exercises also further refined the F-22's operational tactics and employment. So yeah, basically, it's the toughest thing around. It's one of the best aircraft ever created, if not the best, for fighter air-to-air combat, of course. Alrighty. But overall, it hasn't really, it's had some things that it's done, like air to surface, but nothing really air to air and going to air shows. Alright, where all the different places. Let's go into this specifications. You can also go see this in Dayton, Ohio. the National Museum of United States Air Force is a really cool museum. They have about every piece of U.S. Air Force aircraft that you want to see. All right, so let's go to specifications to the crew. It's a single cockpit, so only one person. It's 62 feet and 62 feet long with a 44-foot wingspan and 16 feet high, which is huge, but it barely comes up. Alrighty, weighs 43,000 pounds. Empty weight and gross weight is 64,000 pounds with a max takeoff weight of 83,000 pounds. All right, now its maximum speed is Mach 2.2 or 1,500 miles per hour at altitude, and Mach 1.21 or 800 knots at sea level. Supercruise, which is what it just basically stays at, is Mach 1.76 with a range of 1,600 nautical miles or more with the external fuel tanks added. But depending on what its mission might be, it might not be able to have those external fuel tanks on it. Has a combat range of 460 nautical miles with a clean with 100 nautical miles in supercruise. And then 595 nautical miles at clean subsonic, and then 750 nautical miles in supercruise with the 2 fuel tanks. All right, it has a service ceiling of 6,500 feet, and then it's G limit, so what the aircraft can actually take when taking G's, not just the person inside. It can take 9 G's, which is a lot. I mean, the person inside is definitely not going to take that. And then we already covered its armament, its hard points, but that's the F-22 Raptor. Like I said, the baddest airplane around. No one wants to see it in the sky. But that's all I got for today. Y'all enjoy it. Take it easy.